When I first came to Canada, I quickly noticed something. Whenever someone talked about Indian culture or immigrants, they often assumed it was all about one particular state. It was as if all of India's diversity, its 28 states, over 1600 languages, and countless traditions, had been flattened into one single story. And that story revolved around Punjab, and it made me wonder why does the entire image of India get reduced to just one region? And why do so many Canadians assume that all Indians are the same? Stick with me as I talk more about it and explain you in detail. Recently, I came across an article that mentioned how Punjabi parents were losing money due to recent changes in the immigration policies laid out by the Canadian government. Now, it's true that many Punjabi families have deep ties to Canada and invest heavily in education and migration opportunities. But why is the narrative focused solely on Punjabis when Indians from other states are also navigating these challenges? And this narrow perspective feeds into a broader issue, one where Punjab is seen as representing all of India's struggles, but is that really the whole picture? And this isn't about discrediting Punjab. I'm far from it, and I have many good friends from that region. Even to date, a lot of people worked with me from that region, and I have high respect for that community. And my intent of this whole video is to tell India is not Punjab and only Punjab. Punjab's deep ties to Canada, stretching back more than a century, mean it has a strong cultural presence here, and that's pretty evident and visible everywhere. And it's also one of the most spoken Indian languages in Canada, and you can find thriving communities, gurudwaras across the country. But here's where it gets tricky. This visibility has created an impression that all Indians in Canada share the same background, beliefs, and practices. Think about it. Canada has a population of nearly 2 million people of Indian origin. Yet, articles like the one I mentioned paint a picture that it's only Punjabi families who are impacted by the changes in immigration rules, and overlooking similar experiences of families from Kerala or Andhra Pradesh or Gujarat. This generalization is like judging the entire continent of Europe based solely on Italy. Sure, Italy has a rich history, but what about Germany, Spain, or Greece? It's not just inaccurate, it's misleading. Punjabi communities were among the first Indian immigrants in Canada, and they built a strong foundation here. By the 2020s, about 35% of Indian origin Canadians identified as Punjabi, making them a significant presence. Their visibility, whether through festivals that they celebrate, naturally made them more recognizable. But here's where the problem lies. When this visibility translates into a perception that all Indians in Canada are just like this, it erases the stories of millions from other regions. Now imagine how this one-sided view can shape people's attitudes. And for many Canadians, the word Indian immediately brings to mind certain stereotypes, whether it's about language, dress, or even behaviors. And when some of those assumptions clash with reality, it can lead to friction. For example, people might assume that every Indian is fluent in Punjabi or practices certain traditions. And when they encounter someone who doesn't fit that mold, it can create confusion or even irritation, as if the individual isn't Indian enough. This isn't just annoying, it can fuel misunderstanding and a sense of frustration on both sides. And when articles highlight only the struggles of Punjabi parents losing money due to immigration changes, it fuels an even deeper divide. And this also reinforces the belief that every Indian's experience is the same, overshadowing the challenges faced by people from Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, or Maharashtra, where regions that might have different aspirations, different investment priorities, and unique struggles. What happens when Canadians start to believe that all Indians are the same? It makes it easier to lump everyone together and apply stereotypes, especially the negative ones. Recently, with rising tensions, we have seen this frustration spill over into public discourse with comments and remarks targeting the entire Indian community based on the actions or behavior of a very few of them. And I have immense number of comments targeting Indians. It's as if the diversity of a country of 1.4 billion people with thousands of years of history gets dismissed because of a few incidents. Imagine someone from Kerala or West Bengal being treated as if they share the same background or beliefs just because of the loudest voices in the room. This isn't just a loss of identity, it's an erasure. It leads to conversations where people assume that every Indian immigrant must have the same cultural norms or the same community ties. And when they don't, it can quickly turn into distrust or worse, outright dislike. So, what do you think? Should we continue to let one community's story be seen as the only story? And how does that impact the way people from different parts of India feel in Canada? And how would you feel if people made assumptions about you based on a narrow understanding of where you come from? These are questions that don't just affect the Indian community, they shape how we all live together in a diverse country like Canada. Here's what I have learned from my experiences. Embracing the whole of India's diversity isn't just about giving other regions a voice, it's about breaking down the walls that stereotypes create. It's about seeing each person for who they are rather than assuming they must fit a certain mold. By doing so, we can challenge the misunderstandings and biases that breed resentment and instead focus on building a community where differences are respected. When articles focus solely on the struggles of certain community families, they risk narrowing the narrative and fueling divisions. But recognizing the broader picture can change the way we see and relate to each other, building empathy instead of judgment. So, how do we move forward? Shouldn't we challenge these narrow views and celebrate the full spectrum of what Indian culture brings to Canada? Drop your thoughts below and let's start a conversation about how we can better understand each other beyond just the headlines and stereotypes. And thank you for watching Great Tales.